Welcome to the welcome welcome to the welcome to this little episode. I'm pretty much I went ahead and went back into the pretty much the AFL vault to go ahead and cover some very so as much information as I can about one guy that pretty much surprised people, and this man had a Hall of Fame career as an AFL quarterback. Now, I'm not talking about the Lord Pred, because I'm talking about Calvin 5. As this quarterback has basically went ahead and you surprised many during his time. So one big question. Out of what he's done so far, what has he went ahead and did so far? Well, I went ahead and went back to the AFL to the vault, and he was the first quarterback to win. He went ahead and won pretty much what was a fantastic Super Bowl, as he and the Vikings, as his Jaguars took on the Vikings, which had Ashley Fields and V. Tyler. Both, in the end, Calvin ended up winning, so I don't know why he ended up going ahead and they said he lost out. Well, I went up into the AFL history books, and when I looked at the Super Bowl teams, it was confirmed Calvin was on there. Either way, the team basically didn't have much talent, yes, and the Vikings didn't really have much guys either. I mean, the next guy, well, either way, season 2 was perhaps we're basically talking about pretty much all the AFL Super Bowls that I played. Calvin went ahead and took home the first one. So what happened next? After another season of playing and craziness, we saw another big matchup. And this one was a big, interesting one. It was Hall of Fame It was both of them future Hall of Famers. But these guys don't even know what they were going up ahead and going up against. As it was the Lord Pred taking on Kayatra. Now, I couldn't really figure out where Kayatra was at first, but overall, I had to go ahead and take a lot of time as I went ahead and looked at the vault, and the vault so far went ahead and nearly fell. I couldn't really find much things to work with, but I can't tell you that there were some different things. Well, either way, it was Kaitra's first Super Bowl. It was a tough matchup, as he went ahead and was forced to take on the Lord Pred. And his Jets team, I can tell you this though, despite the fact that they're one of the best teams out there, they didn't play around, and the game turned out to be what was one of the craziest. One turned out to be crazy, and it turned out to be a fight, a struggle. It was basically a test of what the Lord Pred can do as his team, as he was then a 62 overall. And Kyetra, an unknown quarterback that was trying to do one thing, and that was make a name for himself in this league. Either way, the Jets season 2 squad basically was pretty tough. I mean, let's face it. When you looked at it, this was basically the season 2 squad. Kyetra didn't really have had pretty much guys that hadn't played in AFL, and pretty much had played in AFL today. While Lord Pred, some guys aren't in AFL today, but there was one dude on the team that has made him that pretty much have been pretty much hot out the gate in season 1, and trying to follow it up with his first ring in season 2. And I'm not and mind you, this was before Def ATL went ahead and came along. I'm talking, and it wasn't even Cactus Jack Eddie. It was Maffo. Maff and Pred basically were a duo, and they were close to going ahead and getting their first rings together. In fact, it was the closest that Pred would even get to a game at all. I do want to note that Kyetra was the head coach, but there was something different about him then. I mean, not honestly. I'm gonna tell you this though. He pretty much everyone knows that he's a kind of a scary dude. And Kyle was basically trying to make a name for himself here. It looked to be a good Super Bowl. The game was basically back and forth, but in the end, it was a back and forth thing. As Kai went ahead and pretty much battled it out with Def. In the end, though, one person, it was basically go hard or go home. And Kyetra back then, who was better known as Zixwix, went ahead and dominated. He went ahead and fought so much. That was kind of a defensive game at one point. Pred wasn't, and here's the big truth. The Lord Pred, he wasn't even wearing number 18 back then. He was wearing the number 12. And Kyetra did his best to put on a show. Even in the places that he thought he didn't get to how much, he made the most of them. In the end, though, it came out. The fourth quarter was the part to tie it, and the Seahawks went ahead and delivered. Kyetra went ahead, and in the end, though, beat Pred. beat Pride and Math 24-20 to win Super Bowl II. So what about the next Super Bowl? So what about their next challenge? The next challenge for those guys was pretty much the next season. Now that was season 3. Kyetra, well, it was different for Kyetra then. And King Kai was still showing that he was basically one of the best guys there. He tried to go back to back. But in the end, of course, one team had to go home. So what was the matchup, though? Also, before you get to that, did you know that for a weird fact, AFL actually originally had a college level, but it was a different version of it. But that college level only last a season. But despite the fact that it didn't work, it wasn't the best. The second form will appear later, as we know as ACFL. In that game, in the next Super Bowl, turned out to be a big one. I'm talking big in a weird way. That season turned out to be a rival of what would become one of the best quarterbacks to ever grace the AFL field. And yes, you guessed it, I'm talking about Def ATL. No one knew when he came out. He came and tried to pretty much make a name for himself. But now, Roblox NFL 2 was now known as Football Universe, and there wasn't really much to think about. But Def went ahead, made his debut in Week 1, and that was against the Saints. And the rookie went ahead and dominated. Def went ahead and in his debut went 21 for 36, had 332 yards passing, with 6 touchdowns against 1 interception. As his Chargers went ahead and destroyed the Saints 61-14. Little would the league know that he would be going ahead and absolutely dominating the game. Well, basically, a scared straight game. The next Super Bowl ended up turning out to be the Seahawks taking on the Chargers. Well, either way, it turned out to be the first Super Bowl. Super Bowl 3 turned out to be the first Super Bowl of Def ATL's career. Well, either way, the final score was that the Chargers ended up winning 36-20. Season 4 went ahead and turned out to be a different one, as it turned out to go ahead and see the arrival of some guys, such as Emperor Dez and Beast QT. As for Def ATL, he went ahead and played with the Patrick Mahomes type MVP performance. He would wind up playing the Super Bowl again. This time, it was against the former champion Kyetra. In the end, things turned out different, as Kyetra barely won the game 40-38. Well, the next Super Bowl turned out to be pretty much a big one, as it was basically saw the return of Calvin Five, who, if you got, who at the time, although he was basically slinking aside himself as a Hall of Fame QB. And well, things turned out different. It turned out to be a back and forth. It wasn't really much of a back and forth game. And then the Jaguars grew hot, and the Panthers on ahead and grew cold. In the end, the Jaguars ended up winning 46-32, and to go ahead and cap off what was not only a comeback season to pretty much cap up the highlights of Calvin's career, but it did go ahead and turn some people into something else. Either way, Season 6 went ahead and moved on, and that turned out to be a crazy game to a point. The Season 6 Super Bowl one had turned out to be more different. This one, not only did it go ahead and see gone were basically some of the old streamers from back, one of the old streamers from back then. Now, for the first time, it was went ahead and started seeing modern AFL. As it was the first time, it was going to be the first Super Bowl that was streamed, that Kiri Cali streamed. And of course, it was a big game, as it was basically Emperor Daz taking on the Rams in what was indeed a back and forth game. Def ATL captured his second ring as his high profile Rams team won 42-30. The next season saw pretty much a different matchup. It didn't see Calvin or Prad or Kyetra or Def ATL. It saw some people. It saw a quarterback that had been to Super Bowl before, bad as a wide receiver, and V. Tyler, and league commissioner AFLHG, aka Reese. The game turned out to be a back and forth thing. In the end, well, we already know what happened. Kyetra went ahead and used the power of his legs, and what was probably one of the biggest games of all time turned out to end as the 49ers won 30-28. Season 8 turned out to be a little bit different, as this saw an arrival of so many of the modern players. It's Jackson coming up from the college level to the pros, as well as I Don't Throw Picks, aka Cole. And I also saw the first undefeated team in AFL history. And yes, I'm talking about the Def ATL-led Steelers. And I also went ahead and turned out to be, well, started to become a brewing end for some players, such as Calvin Five, who after Super Bowl 5 was basically starting to become taking more of a more mental role. In the end, though, he ended up going ahead and only becoming a backup quarterback when it needed, as he was basically mainly a starting a wide receiver on the Titans in season 8. And that also saw me going ahead and arriving that season. So, well, yeah. Either way, some people knew what happened there, and that was in the Super Bowl. That saw Guinea this time of the Chargers go ahead and lead and he went ahead and faced off against the Kayatra-led Seahawks. So remember a game like this before? Yep. Basically, it was a chance to get the third title. And in the end, well, things went ahead and happened. As pretty much Seahawks went ahead and beat the lost to the Chargers, but it was a close game, as it ended up turning out to be a 42-30 Chargers win. The game was cut close, but as soon as the Seahawks tight end sold, the Chargers went ahead and scored that extra touchdown to go ahead and put the dagger in. And now we go on to season 9. It basically sees the arrival of a few guys. Dev ATL playing at the high level he always has been. Kai Etcher transitioning to wide receiver. Some players going ahead and coming in. And also probably one of the greatest rookies to ever grace AFL steps on as Mike Aviation transitioning to the wedge role, and he and the Titans have went ahead and killed it, so far going 9-2. But don't worry about his other job classmates. Politico, he's had a good season as well, but his teammates were consistently selling. Miserable Sins didn't really have much of the best team to work with, not to mention his top wide receiver from college, and was out at one point his best receiver in the league, basically has become a draft bust. So, Super Bowl, and right now it's a road. On the NFC side, you have basically the Giants, and you have the Panthers, you have the Lions, and you even have the Packers, and Cowboys a good contender. Heck, even the 49ers are still in it after their Super Bowl 7 win. In the AFC, the Colts, the Chargers, and well, I can tell you, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Jets, who went ahead and are now on their second quarterback since the Lord Pred had left. Those guys are basically looking for a playoff hunt. And let's not forget the Titans. Remember that. So what about the future of the league? What should you expect? Well, it could be a start of a new era. AFL season 10 will celebrate the 10th season of the league. So there's some arrival expect to go ahead and see the arrival of Heisman Trophy winner V Lucky, and most likely expect the arrival of College Offensive Player of the Year, Stephen R.L. Center of the Year and most versatile player, Julian Edelgelt, going ahead, and he's going to be playing. He's going to be going ahead and playing a lot. And expect to go ahead and see pretty much see a girl be a QB as in the league. I mean, there already were some players that were girls that actually were playing in the league. One such success is Mallory. And Mallory has went ahead and dominated. She went ahead and got a Pro Bowl spot in season 9. Although in the college level, it's been tricky, as Skylar looked to be the future, but controversy happened, and she ended up losing her spark. That new replacement turned out to be an FBU dimer named Val. And Val was pretty much a good dimer, no doubt about it. As soon as she graced onto an ACFL field, she's been taking off. With the right tools, she could turn out to be one of the best dual threat QBs since she could turn out to be Reese's rival. So in the college level, there are some people that are going ahead and going in. Brown Man is even going to go out there. There's even some rumor. So who do you expect to be the future of the college leagues, though? We'll expect some guys from OFL to come over to AFL. In fact, even go ahead and take a Imperial Football Alliance dual threat quarterback named Chad Bofa to absolutely dominate all the way. These guys have the talent. It's going to take a long time. But hopefully they can go ahead and step up, make those plays happen, and we could see something different. We could even see dynasties be born. As Finley has done pretty good enough that he's probably will end up being a Hall of Famer. Overall, you don't really go ahead and you don't really talk about it. But there are rumors that, and there are some rumors that they're going to go ahead and for you ACFL folks, also go ahead and expect to see nice one Tony back. Yep, he's coming back to the college level, despite what has been so far a solid season for him. There were some people that were doubting. Who knows? Maybe there were some people that were asking to see if. There were people that are asking if Brownman was going to go ahead and stay in college for another year, because that's what it looked like more likely. But Brownman has confirmed he's more likely to go to the AFL draft, which is something we just mentioned earlier in the video. Also, the Sacred Donner could come back and go for higher reach as the comeback player of the year went ahead and went off. As went ahead and turned the ball over less as being a substitute for Carves. Speaking of Carves, the man, although he does serve suspensions, people know very well that the man has experience, and it's just he's a talented guy. The one thing he gets mean for is just whether he can stay on the field for an entire season, as he was close this season, but usually he only gets up to the first half of the season. Then that's when he usually goes ahead and screws up. So once again, pretty much expect the future of AFL to go ahead and get bigger. And one day in the future, I could be talking about so far the first 20 seasons of the AFL. We may never know, but in the meantime, what we gotta do, we gotta go ahead and see what these guys can go ahead and do. Thank you guys for going ahead and watching this video. As your boy here, I really appreciate it. It means a lot if you guys go ahead and watch my content. So if you're new to my podcast, please make sure and subscribe, and make sure you enable the notifications so you don't miss a video from me. And please make sure to check out my main channel. Link to that will be in the description. I usually do gaming on it, and right now I'm starting to go ahead and do OFL videos there, and I'm eventually gonna move them over to this channel or to this podcast. But we're gonna be going ahead. But right now we're gonna be doing so many things. Either way, I want to say thank you to all of y'all who went ahead and watched this today. If you guys went ahead and enjoyed this video, be sure to go ahead, smash the like, hit the follow button, and make sure you leave a comment and let me know what your favorite part of reviewing these AFL Super Bowls were. And be sure to enable the notification so you guys won't miss that video. Also, recommend this to your friends because I really appreciate it. It's for the sake of fan service. Either way, there's one thing I gotta do, and this man here has to go ahead and go fast. So, either way, thank you guys for going ahead and watching this. Once again, I'll see you on the next video. Side up, side out, peace out. Let's go.